Alrighty, let's talk about this set. This is what we're going to be playing with tonight, or this afternoon. This is the Menagerie Mix-Up, and this is probably one of, oh geez, my favorite sets. It makes all of these adorable little critters, and I have a bunch of them here in my box. So, and we're going to stamp a few together because I want you to see how easy this is. So here's a cute little koala bear, and then we have the bunny rabbits. All right, so I've got a couple of different bunny rabbits with different head shapes. Now here's what's really kind of fun. This one was stamped onto cardstock and then die cut out. These were stamped onto Whisper White and colored. So we're going to talk a little bit about both of those. These are adorable. I love them. Now all of mine are Christmassy because that's the season we're in. But in this stamp set, look at the cow! Isn't it cute? All right, but in this stamp set, you could make birthday presents, or you could have the animals holding flowers or having a balloon. And there's a die set that goes with it. Now I will tell you that this little die right here in the corner, this is my favorite die. And this die is probably the one I use more than anything else because I am real quick to grab a pair of scissors and fussy cut. But this die is what punches out the hands. So I get to slide things like the candy cane into that little bitty die. So let's take a look at one that has a candy cane. All right, so see right here where his hands are? That little candy cane was stuck down in there because we used that die to cut out the hands. Okay. All right, now let's do a little stamping. So let me clear some things out of the way. And I'll tell you today, I'm probably going to fussy cut just because I'm in that mood. Now, here is a tip for you. Pro tip alert. This is the kind of thing that I do, and I kind of batch it. So I take a bunch of these, and I'll stamp them, and then I'll color them, and then I'll go sit in the living room with the TV and the husband, and, uh-oh, I dropped a body. And he will be watching football or whatever. And I will be fussy cutting. Again, I don't mind the fussy cut. Some people don't like it, and so then you can use the dies. All right, I'm gonna clean off the back of this because it feels a little cruddy. Sometimes the stamps don't want to stick, so I just keep hand sanitizer over here off camera, and it just cleans it. Sometimes if I'm not careful, it will clean it right onto my fingers. All right. So when I color with the alcohol markers, our Stampin' Blend alcohol markers, I want to make sure that I am using Memento Tuxedo Black. All right. That's important. It's very important. This is a dye-based ink. This is not going to bleed with the alcohol in the alcohol markers. If I were to use something like a StazOn pad is an alcohol pad, so it is going to bleed. All right, so let's get a body here. I really like this little one with his hands. And I'm going to open up my stamp pad, and I'm going to show you kind of how we do this. So I like to start with the body, and I am going to come off the edge of the page because the heads, you know, are a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit wider than the body. And so I'm going to stamp that. I'm going to set it down. I'm going to grab a couple of other blocks out here. So I've got a couple of A-size blocks. I've got, this one is a B-size block, which is what I'm going to use for the heads. And then I have a couple of C's. Put that first body on a D-size block. Now you may be thinking, oh my goodness, that's way too much information, and that's okay. I think the first animal we are going to make is a cow. So I'm going to take his head, I'm going to look down through my stamp in my block and put his head on there. Now I need horns, because he was a steer. Okay, so I'm going to add some horns up here to the top of this little head. Alrighty. And then we're going to do ears. Now, y'all, I don't do this often, but with ears, I'm going to do it. So I tried to layer them one on top of the other. And so I'm going to come in and I'm going to put this ear right over here. And then I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to put this ear right over here. And now I have the cow with the ears. Let's see. Let me clean off the horns. And let's give him a mouth and some eyeballs. So here's the snout. I guess it's a snout. It's a snout, I know, for a pig. So here's his cute little nose. I'm going to clean that off. And then let's give him some eyeballs. Kind of like the closed eyeballs. So I guess they're not really eyeballs. They're closed. Alrighty. So there's our cow. Now I am going to take his tail. And when I stamp this, I'm going to stamp this over to the edge. Just a little bit. Because this piece I do want to layer behind my cow body. Alrighty. So here we go. Just going to lay it over here to the side. Now that was that easy. And then I would do several of these and I would take them and I would fussy cut them. So let's color up this cow for just a second. And we're going to set these out of the way and then we'll do some cleanup in a minute. Alright, so I am going to use, and I know I have it because I just saw it. Yes, there it is. I am going to use the dark basic black alcohol marker, which we call Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to use the pointy edge. And I am just going to draw me some squiggles. My friend Kim used to work for the Cattlemen's Association, and she would absolutely have my hide right now. No pun intended. Because these cow types all have names. And I have probably put horns on a cow that doesn't have horns. Because I was kind of thinking that he might be a Jersey cow, a black and white spotted cow. Alright, so there are his spots. Now, I need to add some interest to this snout area and to his ear. And I'm going to use, turn around so you can see it, light petal pink. And on this one, I am going to use the brush tip. And I'm just going to swish in the ear and swish in the ear. And then I'm going to come back and color across his snout. And it just makes it a different color. Alrighty, now let's talk about these horns. I don't think they're going to be white. Because if they're out in the cow field, I'm guessing they probably got a little bit dusty. So I'm going to use light crumb cake. And I'm going to take the brush end and I'm just going to color them in. Alrighty. So if I were doing this for real and not for a video, I would stamp a bunch of these. I would do bunnies and I would do sheep and I would do all the animals so that when I came back, I could fussy cut them out while hanging out with the family. That's one of the things that I like about when I'm stamping is that I can take these and I can make them my own. And I've got a way figured out for me to be part of the family and not be locked away in a craft space. Now, in our teeny tiny little house, I'm always within earshot of what's happening. But it's also nice to be in the action. So, we're going to use a bunch of the animals that I've already made today to make some cards and some projects. Now, here in Arkansas, one of the beauties of being an Arkansan is you either love or you hate the Razorbacks. So, today, one of the cards, actually the first card that we are going to make, is a Razorback card. Look at those piggies! Woo! Pig! Suey! Alright, y'all don't want to hear me call the hogs, I know. But we're going to do a couple of things. Ooh. Yes, I have the stamp. I was like, uh-oh, I think I forgot to grab a stamp set. But I didn't. I have it. Whew, that gave me a heart attack. Alright, so we're going to make this cute little piggy card. And it has a layer of vellum that I cut out with the Stitched So Sweetly dies. So remember, these were released last January, and I used the largest one, and it cut out this piece. And then I have my pigs layered. Now this Joy came out of October's Paper Pumpkin. Y'all, this stamp set I have loved and loved and loved, and it just kind of blew me away. If you're not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, let's talk, because it is probably the simplest way to be a crafter, because everything comes in the box that you need, right? So we're going to use this word Joy, and I took it and I stamped it and I embossed it. Now, because I didn't want to keep you here all day long, I have put some of these pieces together, and I wrote down measurements so I can give you measurements too. So this is Real Red cardstock. It is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Okay, and then we fold it over, and we're going to put the fold on the side. Now we're going to layer a couple of pieces. So this piece of Whisper White cardstock that we're about to work with is 3 1/4 by 4.5. I'm going to grab out my very dirty mat. I'm also going to grab out my real red ink. I'm going to try to keep my fingers out of it so we don't look like we've murdered somebody. And we're going to use pattern play, and I want this piece right here because we're going to make a plaid. And this one feels kind of gunky too. Ooh. And I got way too much hand sanitizer. It went everywhere. I'm just glad it didn't go on my project, because that would not have been fun. Alrighty. Oops, I need the bigger block. Alright, so we're actually going to use, this is the eye block. Okay, we're going to lay that down. And we're going to use Real Red to make a plaid. So this is what I did. I took Real Red, I want you to be able to see it, and I just marched that stamp right up and down that stamp pad so that it was inked. I'm going to slide it out of the way, and I am going to go long way first, and I'm going to stamp it down. Now I pulled back out this foam piece because this is photopolymer, and because I am doing such a large line of images, I wanted to make sure that this was good and crisp. Whereas doing the little animals, because they're so much smaller, I don't have to have it. Better practice would be to have it, right? All right, so now we're going to crisscross this, and I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to walk my stamp back down that stamp pad, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space in between the two. Alright, there's that. Okay, now we're going to leave some space. Alright. Now I'm going to do my last one across the bottom. Okay, and now I'm going to come back and finish these out. And I'm just leaving a little bit of space. The nice part about something being handmade is that it's not machine perfect. And I actually like that a lot, because then that means that I made it not a machine. So, all right, let me close this stamp pad up. Get it out of our way because we don't want to wear the red ink. I did wear a white shirt today, which might not have been the smartest thing with Real Red. Real Red likes to stain stamps. Doesn't hurt the stamp, it just stains it. And then it also likes to get all over my hands and make me look like I've murdered somebody, which I haven't. Not today. Some days maybe, but not today. Alrighty, so here's this. Grab some Stampin' Seal adhesive. Now, one thing I can tell you is the Stampin' Seal adhesive does not work well on that foam pad. That's just a no-go. We're going to drag it lightly across, turn it back and flip it. Drag it lightly across, turn it back and flip it. And now this cute little plaid goes right in the middle. Isn't that darling? All right, now we want to add some of these adorable little pigs. Now this little guy does not have a scarf. And I think I'm going to be okay with that because this little guy who's going to go in the middle does. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slide my card out of the way and I'm going to bring my vellum square in because this is where I'm layering my piggies. Now 2 of my piggies have hats on and 1 does not, and he has a scarf on. So he's going to go in the middle. Okay. And I am literally just sticking him right there in the middle. Now his 2 friends are going to go on Stampin' Dimensionals on either side. But I'm going to hold off for just a minute in doing that because I want to get adhesive on the back and get him on the card before we do that. So I'm going to use the word joy, and then I'm going to use the words to you and yours. So let me pull that off. So while I'm getting this set up, if this is your first time seeing me, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Karen Day, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States. And I blog and I social media at A Little Kinder at Blogspot and at Instagram and here on Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel under the same name. Now this was crooked, and so I was pulling it up to get it straight. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to add to you and yours right here underneath. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick my pig down. So I'm going to take some more of my Stampin' Seal, gently run it and flip it. And then I'm going to put him right in the middle. Now that he's stuck down, I can start adding the things that have dimensionals. I didn't want to add all my pieces and then try to stick the try to come back with the Stampin' Seal. All right, so we have 2 sizes of dimensionals. We have the large ones and the small ones, and I really think the large ones are going to be fine. All right, so if you've ever watched me, you know I am not afraid to use dimensionals. Well, I get harassed, made fun of by those who don't want to use the dimensionals. So today I'm just barely making it happen. So here are my 3 little piggies. 3 little Arkansas piggies. And here we go. Slide him right over here. I just think this is so fun, especially being in Arkansas. Now, for the word joy, I'm going to use green glue. This is the mono liquid glue. And the reason that I want to use this is that he's going to be sticking to these piggies. But I don't really want the joy to be higher than the piggies. So I'm going to grab my tweezers because this has got glue on it. Grab my little tweezers, flip it up, stick my joy right there in the middle of my piggies. Look at that. And there we have it. There is my cute, adorable little card. Look at how cute that is. Now these I colored with Flirty Flamingo, and these I colored with the Petal Pink. And so I'm not really sure which ones I like better. These feel more like piglets that are fresh piglets, and these maybe seem like they're a little bit older, or maybe a different variety. I don't know pig kinds and I don't know cow kinds, but I should. Alrighty, so there's our first project. Alright, let me grab the stuff for our second project. I have 3 projects for us today. Alright, so we're going to make this adorable Christmas card. And this one uses the deer. Alrighty. And we may put a different animal on the front of this card. So we're going to take this wreath image from the Paper Pumpkin kit. Now there are several different stamp sets in the annual catalog that are wreath sets. So you could use one of those if you don't have this Paper Pumpkin kit. I also have a video that should be out on Wednesday that is Beyond the Box. It is taking the Paper Pumpkin kit and extending it so that, you know, the pieces are gone. Everything that came in that kit you've now used up and made the beautiful projects. And so now what do you do with it? Well, this is kind of where Beyond the Box is going. Let's talk about this card. So we're going to use the wreath, and I'm just going to start, and I'm going to stamp a diagonal. This is Mossy Meadow cardstock and Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm just going down the middle. We're making our own background paper. Alright, now I'm going to come back and kind of in this window area. So not directly lined up with one, but in the kind of window area. I'm going to put a wreath. And then I'm going to come down here and put a wreath. And then I'm going to come to the other side and do the same thing. Wreath. Wreath. Now I have this kind of funky thing happening here in the corner, and so I'm going to add some leaves there because I want it to look like I cut up paper. And when they design paper for us, they run things off the edges on purpose. And so there that is. Now I need one of my animals, so I'm going to clean my stamp real quick. And then we're going to open this up because I have all of these animals that I already made. See, this is why this is such a great tip. Alright, so I used a deer before. And I think I want to use a deer again. I don't have another one that I colored, but I have this cute one right here. And he has a candy cane, so I think we'll use him. Yes, he's going to be perfect. Alright, so I cut a vellum circle somewhere. There it is. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and stick our deer onto our vellum before we do anything else. Now I'm going to get rid of this for just a minute. I'm going to need it in a second to stamp the Merry Christmas. Alright, so this is just going to go right down the middle. Pop it back. Slide him on there. And then I'm going to put him on dimensionals. Now, I had to feel this because I don't see the dimensionals. I only use 2. And this is what bugs me. So he sank in the middle. That's why I like to use more than enough. That's also why I get made fun of. But that's okay, because I just don't like them to sink. So I'm going to put one up here on his antler. And one over here on his antler. No saggy images. I mean, hello. There's enough stuff that sags in my life. I do not need my cards to sag. Just saying. Alright. So, there we go. Now we're going to add him. Oh, he's so cute. I'm loving these animals. So many cute things that you can do with them. Our last project today is going to be a 3-dimensional project. And I think you're going to love it. Alright, so we're going to put our deer kind of right in the middle. Oops. There he is. All right. This is one of the stitched rectangles, and we are going to stamp the Merry Christmas off of this piece in real red. I am living on the edge getting this red out so much because it really does like to live on me. Alrighty. So we're going to take Merry Christmas. Now I could have pulled back out that mat, but I didn't. And you can see here in the middle where that T is. You see the T right here, kind of up at the top, where it's not as solid. That is because I didn't have the mat under there. Now, if I was really, really, really bothered by that, I could grab the real red alcohol marker and go over it. But I would, honestly, me being me, I probably would do more damage than good. So we're just going to leave it. All right, now we're going to add some jewels. These are the Wonderful Gems. And these are kind of, I'm going to be honest with you, they're kind of weird. They are transparent-ish. If that's a word. Like, I feel like if they were clear, like the clear ones, that you could see through them. But it's like somebody took the clear ones and colored them with real red. Like the blends. But they did it at the factory. And I really like them. I didn't think I was going to, but I do. Alright, so we're going to add 3 of these little guys right up here across the top. And before I do that, because I'm going to have a bumpity-bump issue, I am going to grab this little strip. This is a 1-inch strip, and we're going to use the banner punch. And I'm going to slide it into the biggest hole, which is the 1-inch hole. Now, on the back side, I'm going to go ahead and flip it because I don't want to run it all the way to the end. I want to pull it back and save as much of the paper as I can. So I'm just getting that very, very little edge. All right, now we're going to do the other side. Because if I went all the way in, then I would... Sorry, you know you have to stick your tongue out when you do these, right? It's got to be stuck out the right way. If I went all the way in, then I would lose too much of my length that I need for this piece to sit right in the middle. All right, it wants to fight with me, not come in. All right, so we're going to put this on there. Ooh, hello. That one didn't flick. Did y'all see that? It pulled everywhere. All righty, slide this right in the middle. There we go. Stick it down. Now I'm going to add them, because I'm going to put it on dimensionals, and that way I'm not dealing with the bump of these gems. All right, so we're going to slide 1. This one. 2. Now, when I set these down, if I don't press down on the top of them, the adhesive will let me kind of wiggle them a little bit. Let's see. There we go. Alrighty, and then I press them down just to make sure that they're good and secure. I like to use my scissors to put rhinestones on. I just feel like it works a little better. We're going to grab... I'm going to grab this. This is the leftover from a sheet of dimensionals. And I'm just going to use it. Maybe just a little bit more. Alrighty. And we're going to add this to the front of our card. Alright. There we go. There's our second card. Alright. Our last project today is going to be a 3D item. And this one I've already made a gajillion of, and I plan on making a by itself standalone video that's not part of Maker's Monday, where we're really going to kind of go, there's not a whole lot of detail to go into per se, but where I go through and score it and we really kind of talk about what's going on with it. Find all the pieces down here in my little container. Okay, there's my word Merry Christmas. Alrighty. So this is what we call a 1, 2, 3, 4 box. And it is a super, super fabulous box. So what you do is you cut a piece of either pattern paper or cardstock 4.5 inches across. Now the length can be as tall as you want it. These are 6.5. Yep, these are 6.5. And I could decide to use either side of the paper. This one I'm going to have the green out. And so we're going to, when you score it, like I said, I'm going to do a video that's just this, and we're really going to go slow so you can see it. But we score in at 1 inch, and then we score, you turn it, and you score at 4 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, and 1 inch. I know, super hard, right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and score these lines. Now, I have a bunch of these out on our Christmas tree already. I think these are fantastic. The person that taught me how to do this is a lady. She's a demonstrator, or a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but she's out of the United Kingdom. And you might have heard of her. Her YouTube channel is Poodles. And I just think she's fantastic. But, well, one, I love listening to her because I love to hear her voice. She's fabulous. But one of the things that she was saying when she was making these is that you could put sweets in it, or treats. And then you can put it like on your tree as like an ornament. So that's what we're going to do. So what I've done is I've removed the 1/2 inch piece across the bottom. For this, I am going to use a stronger adhesive. I am not going to use Stampin' Seal. I'm actually going to use tear tape. I could use Seal Plus. I just am so used to using tear tape that's what I go to. Now, I have 2 places I could put this. I could put it along the inside of my fold or right up against the fold. I want my adhesive right up against that fold. That's going to hold it tight there at the seam. Okay. Yes, that took years and years and years of training to learn how to put that on my wrist like that. Alrighty, here we go. Now we're going to take the adhesive back off. I'm going to leave this folded in, and I'm going to fold it down. And now I have the perfect little box. Isn't that cute? Okay. Now, here's our deal. We've got all these little flaps that we want to fold in, and I'm going to grab, I think I've used every adhesive I own today on these projects. Ooh, we're coming up on an hour. I want to hurry. I don't want to keep you that long. I'm sorry. But I'm having so much fun. I hope you're having fun too. All right, now I'm going to just grab one of my blends and I'm going to stick it down in there and make sure that that sticks. Okay. So here's where I kind of personally have an issue. I broke my hole punch. Yes, I broke my hole punch. So I have a new one on order. Mine was a very old Stampin' Up! Punch, and it died. So this is also a Stampin' Up! Punch. This one's the teeny tiny one, and it's just what we're going to do for now. And then I'm going to pray I can get this ribbon through here. So we're going to... Normally I would use my nice, big, fabulous hole punch and not have this issue, but... well, I do want to do this because I want to make sure that these are at the same place. So, just lining this up so that I can get my holes in right. Alright. Now, we can fill this. This is what's fantastic about this little guy. I went and I purchased a bunch of treats because I wanted to see what would fit. I purchased some Hershey Kisses and Hugs. I purchased some bells. Ooh. Reese's Bells, and then these are Hershey's Peppermint Bark. And I will tell you, the bells fit, but they're a little bit wide. So if you can see it lined up there at the bottom, they're just a touch wide. You can make it work, but they're tight. So I am going to actually use hugs. And I did this last night, and you can get 8 of these down in here. So I'm just going to drop them in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these are just Hershey's Hugs with the holiday wrapper on it. Kisses work too. And I did get some peppermint kisses. And that's what I used in the other ones. Now, I do like to fill this before I decorate the front. It gives me something to press in on. So let's tie this little bad boy off. And this is the Real Red Braided Linen Trim. And I want about 10 to 11 inches of it. Alrighty. We're going to slide this through that hole that we made. And I'm sure that there's an official name for this kind of knot. But this is what I do with the ends of anything. Okay. So there he is ready. Find my front side. That's the back. So this is the front. So here's what I did. This paper is out of the Heartfelt Hugs suite. That's if you've seen the holiday catalog, that's the one that has all the coffee in it. So the little coffee cups and the die set that makes wraps to go around coffee cups. So cute. This is the paper that goes with it. And it's actually kind of what inspired me to do today's projects. All right. Where's Christmas? There it is. These little words, Merry and Christmas, are out of this set. This is Peace and Joy. I wanted to show it to you partly because I love these words the way they are, where they stamp the square and the color. But I also wanted to point out the joy. So in this stamp set that came in Paper Pumpkin, ooh, it's sticking to my animals. It has a lowercase joy. It's a little bit smaller, but it's about the same. And so they work really well together. This is in the holiday catalog and still can be purchased. This, I think they may have some of the Paper Pumpkin kits left. Don't quote me on it. They were selling pretty quick, the few extras that they had. Oh, that slid. Alrighty. So, I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm just going to cut on the white right up against the edge. Now we have the word Christmas, and we're going to do the word Merry. Alrighty. And we're going to add him. So here's my cute little bear going down. I put him on a heart so that he would stand out a little bit. And I made my heart turn sideways. Alrighty, and so we're going to put our cute little bear right on the front of this package. Now, because that candy's in there, I've got something to press against, which is really nice. Now, for the word Merry and Christmas, I am going to go back to the green glue. I just like this better for little bitty pieces. Let's see if I can get that off. There we go. And we're going to do Merry. And then we're going to add some to Christmas. And we're going to put the word Christmas down. And then there he is, so adorable. Should have grabbed the other ones off the tree. I used all kinds of different animals on the ones that are on our tree. We have deer on some, and we have rabbits on some, and I think the only thing that's not out there is the pigs, and that's because the pigs all got used for the cards. So here's what we did today. We did this adorable little box. We did these two little deer cards. And then we did the pig cards. So I will get this over on YouTube. If you are new on YouTube, please make sure that you like, comment, or subscribe. Subscribing lets you know when I put something new out. If you're here on Facebook, don't forget to share this video out so that others can find me and they can not scrap with us, but they can craft with us on Mondays. All right, let's take a look at some cards. This one uses the Joy out of the October Paper Pumpkin, and this one uses Joy out of the Peace and Joy stamp set. Now we're going to look at the Paper Pumpkin. Here are two from the Peace and Joy stamp set. All of these were shown over on Instagram. This one uses the wreath out of the October Paper Pumpkin. You guys, thank you so much for joining in today. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and share on Facebook. Until next time, bye!